Hi there, welcome to ComplyPlus Presents. Today's a very special episode. I'm joined as usual with Dr. Richard Dune here in the studio in Coventry today. So Richard, first of all, how are you doing?
I'm great. Like we're saying just now, Friday, the best day of the week. Yeah, so I feel really, I feel really good today. It doesn't matter what happens, I'm gonna be good. But I think Courtney's gonna make me feel better.
Yes, yes. So yeah, without further ado, I'll introduce our very special guest today. Like I say, someone who embodies the science and spirit of resilience, a six-time national gymnastics champion, then went on to be a professional dancer who has shared stages with the likes of Madonna, and Will Smith, and now is a founder and entrepreneur in the international wellbeing and motivational speaker space. Obviously, we'll go into more details there. But Courtney Orange, welcome to ComplyPlus Presents. How are you doing?
Great. Thank you, Lewis and Richard, for the invitation to come and join you guys on a Friday. Every day is a Friday for me, as I mentioned to Richard earlier. But all is good. All is good my side. The sun is shining. And hey,
Yeah, where
Really?
are you recording from today?
it's South London, close to Gatwick
Oh, okay.
Airport.
Okay.
I need to
Very
get
close
down
to
there
Gatwick
this
Airport.
weekend, maybe. Yeah,
Yeah.
looks very nice.
I like the fact that you're wearing orange. And I was watching some of your videos, and the kids were asking whether you eat a lot of oranges or do you just eat orange. So is that like it's just like a theme then for you?
Oh yes, it's you can say, I'm embracing the name,
Yeah.
with positivity, and it has as a young student, it wasn't the best name to have. There were many other names called,
I can imagine.
kiwi, banana, green, blue.
Yeah.
But I like to embrace the name that I've been given by my father and mother.
No, I appreciate it. But obviously, as Louis said, you coming from elite sport and entertainment is at the highest level and education. Like you're saying, I was watching a lot of your videos. I got hooked on them. Actually, I kept watching. You're talking to headmasters, you're talking to teachers, you're talking to primary school kids, and I was sort of thinking the level of energy, and even corporate as well. So some of the stuff you're doing for corporate, and even simple things that you can do using very basic equipment at home to exercise. The key one for me was the umbrella one. How you can, you're walking around with your umbrella. How can you use it to stretch and exercise? I sort of thought to myself, what have I been missing all along? I mean, I've been around a long time, but some of the things that you are doing are so basic and yet actually quite meaningful.
Oh yes, no, totally. I believe that movement is part of our daily lives, and if we I think a lot of people might be embarrassed to move. I think that's a major thing, even in the corporate world. If somebody sees somebody stretching or just doing something out the ordinary, even in the street, it looks it's eye catching, but it's so simple. And I'll dive into a little bit later on in the interview, some of the methods that people can utilize within their daily work, their daily doings, and also how I brought that in during the COVID period, where people were stuck at home, nothing to do. So I was helping to get people moving using basic objects like mugs of tea. There was tea towels.
Yeah.
I just looked at any object across in the home and to see what was possible, just to get people to use it to move.
Fantastic. Yeah.
Excellent. Right, yeah, let's get stuck in then, as they say. So yeah, you've got an incredible story, Courtney. Like I say, from gymnastics to global stages, now going into the well-being leadership space. But I suppose what I think our audience will most likely be interested in would be for you to just talk us through some of those turning points, and basically what they taught you about resilience in particular.
Oh yes. Resilience from my side, I guess growing up in the country of Zimbabwe, where I was born, we have some some resilience in our DNA because there was many a time where we didn't have the lights would go off. There would be a shortage of food on the shelves at some time. We had to wait sometimes hours, even days in petrol queues to get fuel to put in the car. So I think that it was a daily grind. But then going into the sport of gymnastics, where I started at 7 years old, it was a love of movement, and also it was something that that could consume some of my energy that my mother was happy about. That I spent, I think it was sometimes between 3 to 6 hours a day in training at the gymnastics club. I mean, we used to come home with calluses on our hands, bleeding, and sometimes go back into the gym, and the coach would say, let's see your hands, and he says, that's fine. They look good. They look good. They'd say, show me your hands. They'd give me a high five, and you'd be shaking, and he said, okay, now you can get back up on the apparatus and go again. So those small lessons along the way have certainly guided me and helped me to assist people when I speak to them and talk at conferences, within schools, within associations, about how to embrace that resilience and embrace the tough times in life, because there will be always tough times, and it's never ever smooth sailing. But as a human race, we have always kicked back into that comfort. Comfort has always come through. So I just help to push through and help people understand that it's good to put themselves through certain tough times in order to prepare themselves for even tougher times when they do come.
So, look, this is really, for me, actually, you see the pivots that you have made at different stages. Obviously, being a gymnast, you had high ambitions. You became a national champion. Talk us through that journey that took you to the Commonwealth Games, some of the highs and the lows and the pivots as well.
Oh, yes. So I came over to the United Kingdom without any parents. I stayed with some family, and there was no sponsorship. I took on a 9-to-5 job and then went to the gym for 4 hours after the full working day. And that was 5 days a week. I didn't have it. There was no day off. And then I came into to competing against, actually, there was the Olympic champion at the time. I competed with him in a Russian competition, and a few months later, preparing for the Commonwealth Games, which was the highlight of my career. Again, there was no sponsorship, no funding, but getting to that platform, that level of competition, I look back now and I think, wow, it was quite a journey, and to achieve such an incredible accolade. I think I was the first and only gymnast from Zimbabwe to compete at the Commonwealth Games. But then an injury came through just a few months after the Commonwealth Games, which took me 2 weeks before the World Championships in Los Angeles. The flights had been booked. This was the potential qualifier to the Olympic Games 2004. And unfortunately, with that injury, it took me into having to go for an operation. And it was from that difficult moment, as you all know, through difficult moments, something new is born. There is a saying that I like to, when I talk about or speak to schools and students, and that through dark moments, and we have many dark moments. If you look at a seed of a plant, if you look at the beginning of a day starts at 12 o'clock. It doesn't start at 6 o'clock, but it starts in the darkness. Those two pointers, the seed starts in dark times, and the day starts in the dark times. But through those dark moments becomes light, and it becomes, something flourishes from those dark moments. And from my injury, I was then led into the entertainment and dance world, where I took on teaching dance, teaching entertainment, and becoming a professional dancer, and then later on starting an entertainment agency. So there were many ups and downs, but through those downs certainly came a lot of ups.
Yeah, it's incredible because I watched one of the videos where you were saying, I was asking myself, what next now? Construction site, something around construction site, and then getting a call from Exeter University. So was that, was that after the dance with the professionals around the world, these celebrity musicians around the world, which came first? Because as you can see, for me, it was so exciting to just try to follow the journey. But maybe you can tell us that shift actually sort of, look, COVID hits, you start to do these activities at home, and then you then go on to become a professional dancer. Yeah, but you were doing something on the streets first. How did that come about? How were you identified actually as a dancer to end up with Kylie Minogue, with Madonna, with Will Smith?
Sure. So it was I had the dance entertainment career, where I actually started out in the streets performing as a street performer in London, Covent Garden. That shifted me into the performance world, where I said to myself, "Oof, I might not be young enough to continue this high level of entertainment and backflips and breakdance moves all over the stages. So let me start an entertainment agency." So utilizing the knowledge of how an entertainment agency works, I began that, and I began to contract performers to go to events across the world. We've performed in over 6 different continents, 60 different countries of the world, and it was during, and then one of the hardest moments in entertainment and events came along. COVID hit, so we were the first things to go. Entertainment and events, that was wiped off the shelf. A few months, I started to do a few videos and get people moving at home during that COVID period. And then I said, well, that's not going to sustain me for much longer. So a friend said to me, "Come and join me on the construction sites," where I went, and I was working on construction sites for it was in front of Facebook and Google's new head offices in King's Cross. And through those dark moments, again, it's a very cold industry, very cold people. I was listening to motivational podcasts and audio books throughout that time. And I reached out to an event coordinator who I had worked with, and I've done previously a whole lot of team building activational events. And I said, is there anything popping up in the coming few months? And he said, yes, in fact, we do have an Exeter University conference. So we would like a well-being talk combined with a lunchtime energizer. So that is when that was the beginning of another, the next pathway to where I am now as a well-being motivational speaker.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, look, it's fantastic. Look, it's such a powerful journey, and from sort of those falls you kept getting up, and for me, really, it was quite gripping to sort of follow that story. And if we go on then to talk about stress, burnout, and the work that you have done, particularly with the education sector. You know, I know you've done a lot of work with schools, with universities, with head teachers, with teachers. So you've actually dealt with all the stakeholders within the education service. It's a highly regulated sector. As you know, we come from healthcare backgrounds, and similar almost, to be heavily regulated, a lot of pressure on head teachers, a lot of pressure on teachers and the students themselves. You know, talk us through that transition then, to sort of say, how did you end up, you know, following that route, and what you've achieved quite a lot in that space as well. I know sometimes you underplay your achievements, but I'm amazed at your achievements in this space.
Oh yes, it's been revolutionary. Again, when I look back, I think it's only been 3 years, close on to 3 years, where I started to do from the initial talk of well-being talk to Exeter University members of staff. I thought, you know what, well-being is a key factor in anybody's life, and that affects our mental health. And from the athlete background, as well as the positive, I can say, energy background from having gone through those downs and coming out in different ways, I thought, you know, this is the way forward. So I started to put myself out to different schools, educational bodies and boards, and it just so happens that, you know, over that period, I started to get calls, emails from various schooling bodies, you know, independent schools, state schools, associations, sporting associations within physical education. There's also been more recently the headmasters conference where I spoke at, and it was all about your posture, your presence, and your power as a leader. How you were able to project your speeches and talks, but also honing in on the mindset and the ability to prepare oneself before getting up on stage and speaking to hundreds of thousands of people. So that it has been a journey of helping not only the students, the pupils, but also the educators, as well as the leadership teams, to better understand self-awareness, understand when to take a break, to step back, understand how to better have a positive workplace culture, and encouraging their colleagues, their teammates, to look after themselves and to work as a unit to be able to push whatever their missions and their values are going forward.
Yeah. Yeah, so I think, like I say, the stress burnout, it's such a big thing. And like you say, you're mapping well-being then to also outcomes. And I guess that's where opportunities, you know, people making decisions, particularly in universities and so on, that's the benefit they see. Obviously, we know there's a mental health a sort of crisis in the UK in many ways. Maybe crisis is a bit of a strong word, but we're seeing a lot of young people, you know, either taking their lives or struggling with the pressures of moving into adult life and things like that after university. People stay in education longer, not always to just get better degrees or even better themselves as individuals. It's just a way of escaping that adulthood life, isn't it? So I think that you know, what I'm getting from you there is that a lot of the well-being factors can then determine your outcomes, like you say, as you move on in life. So for me, that side's really, really important. And even with some of the clients we deal with, you know, particularly the professionals working in the sector we mainly serve, I think you do see a lot of examples of that, where if there is good culture, if people do feel looked after, they have a positive mindset, you know, outcomes are a lot better. So I think that's a really interesting point. And the one I want to go to now, which is on the same sort of theme, is looking at resilience and leadership. When we were doing the preparation for this podcast, it feels like a while ago now. But when we had our little sort of chat as we do, and the team, you know, put something together for us to talk about this morning, You talked a lot about bouncing forward, not just bouncing back. So what does that look like for leaders in some of the high pressure sectors, particularly, like I say, you're doing a lot of work in the education sector now, and there is a lot of pressure and scrutiny on people in that sector at the moment. So what does that look like for some of the people you deal with?
Sure, yeah. I believe, and I've experienced firsthand that as a leader, you can't you can't be the one to say, oh, you know what, there's no hope, there's no light at the end of the tunnel. There has to always be that forward thinking momentum. Even if there's a barrier, there's an obstruction in front of them. Many leaders, you would have heard many stories where they have seen through that. And what I like to help and just encourage in leaders and people within the leadership teams is that, that there will always be those obstacles and obstructions that pop up. If you can visualize a video game, all those games that you might have played, there will always be an obstruction or a next level to get through, and you have to conquer that before you obtain the next badge or get through to the next level. And I believe that's what life has been is there for everybody. There will always be obstructions, but as a leader, having or gaining or obtaining or understanding their resilience within, what I've learned along the way is there is especially under a pressurized environment. I mean, I've worked in the finance industry, in the construction industry, and in the educational world. I think three of the most, if you Google it, it's three of the most pressurized, intense, and stressful industries in the world. And what I like to tell leaders is, what you need to do is just take a minute to reflect. Stop for a second, put down, close the computer, switch it off, get all the digital devices out the way. And if you can take 1 to 3 minutes in a busy, hectic environment, just to reflect, just to ponder upon what the obstructions might be, what can be done to get through them. Believe you me, just having that reset of the mind, that step back and take a time out, that hyper improves your thought processes and your ability to handle any obstructions or any stresses that come through to you in any pressurized environment.
It's interesting. I think I've asked you this sort of question before, right? To sort of say, look, some of your methods are quite unconventional. And I think it's deliberate, isn't it? To sort of say, I have a child, 12 years old. So whenever you go to the school, some of the senior members of the school are quite aloof and distant, right? And I was saying to Courtney, how do you convince them to do things your way? Very uncomfortable. People wearing suits and they're very serious. They don't want to be seen doing silly things.
Very out of their comfort
But I know
zone,
you're doing it deliberately. What's your experience? How do they take it? Do they take it seriously, or do they just feel so uncomfortable that they just grudgingly go along with it?
Okay, so I think it comes from. It really comes from that understanding or creating a rapport with the person, with the people, with the group. And my experience in being an entertainer, especially on the streets, I was always told that you have to make that person, those people, feel happy, have some trust within them, and as soon as you and that all comes from your body language, the way you speak, the tone that you convince somebody to do something in. I mean, I've done strategy days and team building activity days with CEOs, chief of people, chief in the HR departments, and they are used to directing, huge companies. These are people from Amazon, Colgate, Unilever, and you think, wow, I'm now from this side telling them, hey, can you don't do that? No, you need to. Let's stand up. Let's move back. Let's. So it's the main objective from my side is, especially when it comes to talks, workshops, and programs, is to get the body moving and the mind processing. And yes, a lot of people will, at those conferences or events, they'll start to look around and say, oh, hey, is this really happening? Are we really going through this all together? Okay, yeah, okay, yeah, once, but it's been able to convince. And yeah, actually, I'd like to take you guys through a simple exercise
I
right
knew
now.
I knew it was coming.
So,
Okay.
if you are able just to place your iPads just to the side,
Yeah.
and I believe by getting the body moving, functioning, it helps to process things in the mind and helps to get all systems going. So if you're able just to maybe just push your microphones a little bit back,
Okay.
by any chance.
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna start off with just reaching up in the as you sat down in the chairs.
Yeah.
We're gonna reach up to the sky, yes. Okay, and just just touch your shoulders. Okay, and then get your arms in front of you like this, and we're just gonna create some movement going forwards. As you said, we like to fall forwards, not backwards, because if you fall forwards, you can see what you are doing as opposed to falling back and not seeing where you are going.
Yeah.
Okay, now let's go backwards. We're rolling backwards. Great stuff. Okay, and we're just gonna stretch back up again, and we're gonna stretch to one side. This is gonna help if you've been sat down the whole day, and if you're gonna, it's just stretching out the back, stretching out the muscles. And what I also don't like to see is people sitting down.
Yeah.
So if I can ask you just to stand up for 1 second, if you can just,
I think we can manage.
yes, if you can stand up just for just for a few seconds, great. And I think you need to crouch down because you might be getting out of shot there. Yeah. Now, just if you can just touch your knees exactly how you're doing there. Yes, perfect. Right. And if you can just maybe lift up one leg and just. Yeah, so we're just stretching ourselves. This is helping to stretch and move the body. And you can do this, and let's change the other leg. Great. Yes, perfect. This is stretching your back because I know a lot of professionals sit down the whole day. Okay? And just twist from side to side. Whoa, before you sit down. Yeah. We're just twisting from side to side. Yes. Perfect. Yeah. Excellent. Yes, this is just that is perfect. Please give yourself and give Lewis a high five. Give Richard a high five.
Love the high five.
Well done.
It's the well-being side.
Okay. I had a distinct feeling that we were going to do something really embarrassing.
And today's the day we wore blazers.
But worthwhile. So you should have asked me. I've got sports kit in the car. I should have worn that instead.
If you've been sat in meetings the whole day, and you are in front of people as a leader, you can't just ask them, I'm going to change into my sports kit quickly, I'm going to go for, but the very basic element of that sort of movement is just to show you we are forced to sit down for too long sometimes, and also in places like the doctor's surgery, like conferences, like the restaurants, cafes. Many people say, hey, I've got a table for you at the restaurant. Just go and take a seat there. I'll come and pick you up when it's ready. I like to shake my head and say, no. I won't sit down. I'm going to stand up. So it's really about, with that movement implemented, I like to just encourage leaders and people in general just to, from that movement, sparks ideas, sparks productivity, gets the blood flowing, oxygen through to the brain, which then creates a whole lot of different different processes in the mind, in conversations, and you will see it. I was if you just think about a spider crawling across the floor. This happened to me the other day, and I thought, oh, I see the spider crawling, but it's prompted me to move, and it's then processed some actions. Okay, it's not such a scary occasion. I'll just embrace embrace it, and that's a piece of it's nature that is crawling on the floor, but it's created some thought process to say, okay, just think about what your next actions might be in whatever you're doing.
Look, thanks for getting that movement, by the way. I didn't do my stretching today, so that was actually the first bit of exercise that I've done this morning. So I want to talk about the movement-based well-being, which you have been really sort of popularizing and talking about a lot. You have this 47-3 method, and I mean, I would be one of those reluctant audiences. You made me do something that was quite uncomfortable, something that I never imagined I'd do on this podcast.
That's definitely a first.
But I do feel good about it, and I guess until you try it, a lot of these things actually until you try it, even stretching in the office, I do that every now and again. Rather than use the bathroom on our floor, I'll go to the floor above or floor below so that you get the steps in. So talk us through the 47-3 method and what it means, and how do people take it actually when you talk people through it.
Sure. So this is what I like to call the 47-minute 3 decree. So it's a law, it's a method, it's a principle. Now, I've tested this through various methods. The 47 minutes, what it means is that if you don't set your alarm for 47 minutes, right? As soon as you sit down to do a piece of work, or whether you are moving about, I know a lot of healthcare professionals are moving around, doing their daily tasks, but the best thing to implement movement or implement a break in that movement is to set an alarm. We all have smartphones. Hello, Alexa. Okay, Siri. Okay, Google. Actually, my phone has just gone off now. It knows already. Please set a 47-minute alarm. Now, by doing so, you then, if you're an office worker, administrator, you get into your work, you get stuck in, you get into the zone. A lot of people talk about the Pomodoro technique, which is 25 minutes on, 25 minutes. But if you think about it, if you've been through that technique, I have been, it doesn't, you get into a flow after 10, 15 minutes. Once that 25 minutes is up, no, I need to restart myself again. So the 47 minutes is 47 minutes of work. As soon as that alarm goes off, you then set your alarm again. Okay, Siri. Okay, Alexa. Okay, Google. Set a 3-minute timer. Within those 3 minutes, if you've been sitting, okay, it's gone off again.
It's very loyal, isn't it? It's very obedient.
Yes. She or he knows exactly what is going on. But you do 3 minutes of non-stop movement. If you've been sitting down for, and whether that might just be just walking on the spot. I can guarantee you, if you are doing that movement that we were doing earlier, just for 3 minutes, the faster you go, you put your hand on your pulse, and you will see the blood how it's pumping. We don't need heavy weights. We don't need to go to the gym. If you are disciplined, then after that 3 minutes of movement, or if you have been moving for 3 minutes, if you're a healthcare worker and you are constantly on the move, on the go, and the alarm goes off, okay, right, let me just go and sit down just for 3 minutes, just tranquil, in a tranquil place. But then once that 3 minutes is up, you set your another alarm set another 47-minute timer. I believe that by having those intermittent breaks in between the day. It improves your productivity. It improves your energy, your motivation in whatever you are doing, and it helps to get the blood moving. Again, oxygen through to the brains. You have a fresh thinking. You come back. If you're coming back to a project, you come back with a different mindset and a different approach. And who knows, you might solve that problem, that issue, or take things on with a bit more positivity. So that is the 47-minute 3 decree, what I've called it. And yes, I've got a few videos that I'm launching a series that'll be helping and guiding people through what they can do in those 3 minutes. Simple movements, simple stretches, and it's habit, it's discipline. It's like when you brush your teeth in the morning or in the evening. It's implementing. Maybe you put it into your day twice a day or 3 times a day, and if you can do it every hour that you are working, wow, you're on another level.
Yeah, makes sense. So yeah, with the video series, what sort of platforms will those be going out on? Is it socials? Is it a website based, or even YouTube?
Maybe
Somebody
application?
open source.
Yes. So for the initial launch, it will be on all social platforms.
Okay.
So people can follow them, tap into them for free, and with that, they can just get in, even if it's 1 time a day, right? As long as you're moving that for that 3 minutes in the day, I believe that even people might not even have to go to the gym. If they can put into their day, say 5 to 7 sets of 3-minute movements,
Yeah. Yeah.
there might not be a need to waste that hour to get to the gym, waste the hour in the gym, and waste the other hour, coming back from the gym.
Yeah.
Are you saying I should cancel my gym membership then, Courtney, and then just do just do these techniques? Yeah?
No, if you have you will see many people will take out gym memberships at the beginning of the year. I'm going to start this new year.
Definitely.
Yes, yeah, let's go for it. Ready to go. After 2 weeks,
Yeah, it's out of the
that
window.
gym is invalid.
Yeah,
So, certainly you are disciplined enough, I believe, to be going to the gym. But those that are not, or just want something in the day, just implementing just some slight gradual movements, it's not going to, not going to hurt you. It's going to only be beneficial for the mind, body, and soul.
Look. Thanks for this. Let's go back again to education and community impact. And I'd like to put my governance hat on again. You've done a lot of work in the education sector, community clubs, things like that, in cooperatives. But I want to take it back to education, where there's a lot of pressure. We deal with a lot of early years, nurseries, the schools. And we had this high-profile case of school head teacher who took their own life because of the pressure from, they were going to get a poor rating for their school.
Rating, yeah.
And there's a lot of pressure to try to get outstanding. And we see that even in healthcare and social care as well. So the challenges are real, and I wonder how are these issues that they raise with you as well? Because it's very lonely at the top in these sectors. If you're a head teacher and you know that, a poor rating is coming, it's sad that somebody had to take their life for people to start taking it seriously and start addressing those issues as well. So for you, this must be quite important as well, because you bring so much positivity. But do you get to understand their world as well from that sort of pressurized perspective?
Oh yes, totally. I think I have read that story. If it's the same story, there might be several of them, where teachers are pressurized into doing such things, which is not great at all. And yes, I've seen it firsthand. In fact, on the 3rd of November, in the 3rd of November, I'll be delivering a resilience workshop to the National Autistic Association, a school that is part of that association. Now, working with special educational needs children in particular, I've worked firsthand with them and worked with the teachers that work with those pupils. That is one of the most tense environments within the educational world, and you get to understand, appreciate, and see the pressures that are involved within that educational world, and it takes a lot for a teachers to have the energy, for a lead or a head of the school or an association to have the power within themselves to get up and to say, you know what, it's been a tough day, it's been a tough situation, but I have people below me, I have people around me that also need that help or that boost. And I believe that comes from, again, that positive workplace culture. You know, we are a community human race. We only help and assist people and push them along the way when things are getting tough and difficult. So in those moments, you do need somebody to lean on. As you said, it's very lonely, especially at the top. And we do need that community. And by having that, incorporating now with this school that I'll be working with, there will be a lot of incorporation of unified games, unified activities, strategic thinking challenges that they would need to get through. But by having that camaraderie, that moral boosting, hey, Susan, I can see you are struggling today. It's understanding yourself, having the self-awareness, and then also understanding what your colleagues might be also going through. Because they might not say anything, but if you can, again, it all boils down to body language. If somebody walks in and they're walking in like this, and you think that they're normal, having a normal day, it's by gauging and understanding. It might be different percentages, but our communication as human beings, 55% of it is through our body language. 38% is through the tones of our voices and how we can communicate it. And only 5% or 7% is through the languages that we speak. So it's having that understanding of self-awareness and then the awareness around everybody else and what they might be going through that can assist in those tough times.
Yeah.
No, I think that makes that makes a lot of sense. And as Richard was saying, the crossover does really matter in terms of in these high pressure sectors. I know we're focusing mainly on the educational side and obviously our world, the more health and social care side, but that emotional fatigue, that you can see in schools, in care homes, in GP practices, in universities even. It's really important, and like you say, I think the other angle that where you're quite unique is where you're trying to find even things in the house, everyday items that anyone can have. Not everyone can afford gym memberships. They can't afford personal trainers. They can't afford to maybe sit with someone like you for an hour, and have the benefit of an expert who can help them out of these problems. The other aspect is obviously time. So I think one of the fascinating things with the 47-3 model is it's a great idea, but in practice, I know for some people that would be a struggle because some leaders may say, well, we're not paying you to do 3 minutes of moving your arms around and standing up, and you need to be at your desk. But I go back then to outcomes to sort of say, leaders, I think now, particularly with where we are in the world, need to be more open-minded to some of these ideas. To sort of say, actually, that 3 minutes every 50 minutes that you're giving that employee or that member of staff or that contractor, how is that going to help their productivity, their outcomes, their well-being, their mindset? And is it really worth policing those 3 minutes throughout an 8-hour day or a 10-hour day, depending on what shift pattern they're working? Is it really worth taking those minutes away, but probably not getting the same productivity, probably having an employee, as you've just said, with bad mannerisms, bad body posture or bad body language? So I think, again, it's about having open-minded leadership in a way and embracing some of these new ideas. So for me, yeah, it's fascinating, and even I will try some of these things. I say I will. I need to make sure I actually do it. But yeah, I do like the mindset to sort of say, look, you don't have to join a sports club or go to a gym to exercise. You don't have to go on a run before you go to work. How can you embed it into your every day, and that includes your work day as well? Because as you say, for most human beings, unless we're incredibly lucky, a lot of our time in our life we're at work. And in this country, with the way the pension age and other things are going, you're probably going to be at work a lot longer. So you can't wait for these things to happen, and I think it's quite refreshing to hear some of your ideas. Yeah, so obviously we'll keep everyone informed when the videos go live as well, and I'm sure it'll be a very useful resource for a lot of people. Yeah.
Yeah, so just Lewis, going back on that, can managers, of organizations quantify that 3 minutes of movement? If you go back in time, even to this current day and age, why are people allowed to go for smoke breaks?
No, it's a very, very good point. And Richard will tell you a few NHS stories about cigarette breaks. But I think it's a very, very, very valid
Or to be fair,
point.
the NHS sites now no smoking for many years now. Although you still get patients right in front of the hospital
I was about
smoking
to say, yeah.
with their oxygen tanks.
But there's
next to them.
smoking zones still, though, aren't there?
Yes.
For patients, yes, but not for staff. Yeah, because they're trying to eradicate it completely.
trying to
But look,
eradicate it.
it's a valid point because
very
even
valid point,
I've tried the Pomodoro technique myself, and I just found it disrupting my flow. So I kind of get this 47-3 because if I stop at 25, a lot of my work needs concentration, and it takes me a good 10-15 minutes just get in the
Get
zone.
your head round it, yeah.
And then if I stop, then 10 minutes later, then it disrupts completely. But what I've done, because I've got this, the wearables now, I've got the Apple Watch, and it buzzes at 55 minutes so that I get up and then walk around, go and get a drink and come back. But sometimes I ignore it, I'll be honest with you. But I definitely like 47-3 because it gives me good chunks of work, of time to do my work. 25 minutes is too small, I guess. So I'm going to try that. Definitely try that. Yeah.
And Richard, just on the reason why it's 47-3, that's why I hadn't gone into the reason why. So because the 3 minutes takes you to 10-2 of the hour, right? Theoretically, you have, if you want to continue working, you continue. If you don't, you've got 5 minutes for a toilet break, 5 minutes to get something to drink, and you're back on the hour to take you around the another next 47 minutes.
Yeah.
So that's the theory behind, as opposed to 45. It's like, okay, so it just takes you more in sync into, the hour where we all like to work to an odd number. Top of the hour of quarter past, quarter to.
Yeah. Look, fantastic. Look, Lewis is going to be wrapping up, but I've got one more sort of element that I wanted to hear your thoughts on. You've spoken at over 700 events. That's what our researchers told us, and reaching nearly 1 million people. And as you're discussing with Lewis, you're now building a well-being studio, digital well-being studio, where I know you have a lot of content already out there, but you're going to curate it in such a way that actually it's consumables for certain groups of maybe workforces, because we tend to look at the whole workforce when we're looking at the whole country. So look, what are their needs? So what's next then? And what's exciting you about the future now that you're sort of taking this direction and you have this huge success where you have spoken at all these events, performed at all these high pressure events? What's the future like then?
The future for me, the more people I could get to get moving, to implement movement, to implement positivity within themselves, within their workforces, just helps to encourage themselves and prevent any potential, you know, ailments that could be popping up. So I will be, as I mentioned to you before, creating this studio right here. I've got a standing treadmill desk at the moment, which I'm gonna. So that's my treadmill
All
desk.
right.
Um, and I encourage people to to move more. But this will be turned into a studio where I will be utilizing messages to help people through their resilience, their organizations, through their positive workplace cultures, well-being elements to life, well-being elements to business organizations, to leadership, and throughout there'll be a variety of series that people can follow from a personal and professional point of view that can enhance their minds, the way they process tough times, the way they get through obstacles and obstructions within the workplace and within their personal lives. And there'll be bite-sized 3 to 4 minute long video clips that'll form a half an hour long series, and people can tap into them as and when needs be. Leadership can pass them on to their teams to get through, I'm going to be offering them towards various organizations and associations and people to be able to access them, to improve their mental health and their well-being.
Oh, thank you. Appreciate you.
Excellent, excellent. And just one other takeaway from me before we get into the wrap up. So, for our listeners who may be feeling a little drained, or the days just feel too much, what's one small action they can take, today even, that you'd advise them?
Sure. I would highly urge the connectivity with nature. If you can take a break, so whether it be within that 47 3 minutes, or even a lunch break, or a mid-afternoon tea break, if you can, there is a recent, I listened to this very, very, very famous guy, Andrew Huberman. You know of him. And he had an interview recently, which it sparked a lot of attention in my mind. In that, if you take a walk in nature, or if you have a nature pictures in your office, your workplace, your staff meeting room, just that sight of nature can improve the mindset, the productivity enhancement by 20% of any whatever work you might be doing. Just seeing a picture of nature, maybe it might be a fish tank, it might be walking, within a nature area, and if you can't do that, like I said, just having even a screensaver of a nature setting, But so for me, the key points would be to get out into nature and move. If you can't do that, do your 3 minutes of movement looking at the screen. If you need to be in front of the screen, 3 minutes of movement looking at a nature picture on the screen. This helps you to connect with what we are, which is nature, and also, helps us to embrace or improve our self-awareness, to be able to understand, hey, we are only human. Let's utilize this nature that we have around us to boost us forward in our mental health and well-being.
Excellent. Well, Courtney, thank you very much for your time this morning. Like I say, it's a very, very vital topic. It only seems to be getting bigger in terms of its relevance and significance, particularly, like you say, in the high-pressure sectors. So I know from our side, we'll be putting a lot of information out on this. We're looking forward to hearing of the launch, when your videos go live. We'll be promoting them ourselves on our socials and advising even people within our networks to make use of them. And yeah, thank you as well for allowing us to do a bit of exercise on a podcast. I'm not sure that will ever happen
Shall
again.
we do that every time?
But yeah, from my side, Courtney, that all sounds great. And like I say, looking forward to see, where we move forward with this, and also what your journey holds now as you go into this space more. And like I say, we'll definitely be a supporter. And yeah, look, it's for the greater good, as you say. It's about improving things in some of our critical sectors in the country. Some of these sectors are the backbone of the current and particularly the future of where this country and where
the world,
where
really.
where the human race will be. Yeah. These challenges are not, like you say, they're not just bespoke to the UK by any stretch. So thank you very much for your time this morning.
So if we check with Courtney as well, where can people follow you to get the best experience of what you do?
Yeah,
which channels?
Sure. I'm present on all the channels, but a lot of content that I push out is going out onto LinkedIn and on YouTube. The video series will. I have a corporate well-being video series already on YouTube. There's also a confidence booster series on there as well. But then all the other series relating to resilience in the workplace, resilience, personal resilience, personal mental health enhancement, and all the other video series relating to. I'll be pushing out a follow along 3-minute interactive videos over these coming starting from this coming couple weeks, where people can follow along, log in. All right, what can I do now? 3 minutes, yes. So YouTube and LinkedIn would be probably the best platforms.
Excellent,
fantastic, Courtney. We'll share also with we have a fairly sizable community of early years practitioners, teachers, head teachers who we work with, and local authorities. We'll be sharing also with them in our newsletters. We send newsletters every week so that they know a bit more about you if they don't already. And we really wish you all the best. And again, we're going to be advocating for the work that you do. And I think across different sectors, people will find it really useful, even in healthcare, where we come from, social care as well. A lot of your techniques actually will be very useful there. Thank you very much for your time.
Appreciate it. I just want to leave you with one more thing. Within those movements, please don't forget to breathe. Our breathing and the use of our breathing has such a major impact on what we do, from a stress, calming the stress point of view, to when we are moving and doing those movements. And people like Wim Hof, Jay Shetty, who you might know, they emphasize that element of breathing, and it's so important, if we're taking time out or moving around. So movement, breathing, positivity, it's all in us.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Courtney.
Thank you very much,
Great to have you today. Cheers.
Have a good one.
You guys take care. Have a good day. All right.